Well, greetings, everyone. How are you today? Welcome to week 3 of the Qnity School Financial Roundtable. Thanks for joining us again. I see many familiar faces that are back. Appreciate you joining us. So let's see here. Getting started. I'm going to check the chat out here. We're going to get started in just a second here. Good morning, Alcott and Stephanie and Melissa and Susan and Judith. And use the chat, guys. Tell us where you're from, what you're up to today. So, all right, guys. So welcome to the roundtable here for schools. And I'm very excited about bringing this to the school ecosystem here. We've been doing financial roundtables. We just completed our 46th week. We started a couple hours ago. It was a lively discussion. We're going to repurpose some of that in a little bit. Some of my guests decided to come back and join us a second time, which I'm very grateful for. So this school roundtable, if you're not familiar with it, was modeled after something that has been very successful that we've done with Salon. Special thanks to Pivot Point, who's joined us as sponsors. Keep in mind that the Salon and Spa Roundtable is at 10 a.m. Central Time. And the school roundtable is noon Central Time, hence the design here, get it, sort of like a clock. We will be taking a week off next week. Typically, when it's a holiday week, we use that as an opportunity for us to create a little space between the notes, if you will. So generally, you can expect these roundtables to be 3 out of 4 weeks in a month. But we will be off next week because it's Memorial Day week. And you'll be coming back to work on Tuesday in many cases. So Wednesday, we'll skip the roundtable. We've got a great group of members of our Brain Trust that have come from inside the industry, outside the industry, all different walks of life, all different points of view. And the school Brain Trust is in process. We kicked it off with 3 amazing contributors, Susan Heisey, Nicole Cumberlander, Linnell Lynch. I haven't had a chance to check and see if these 3 amazing women are with us today. I hope they are. If not, they make major contributions and give us light bulb moments, which is one of the things that we hope you get today is some light bulb moments. Thanks to Jared Sanders last week. He was a great guest. 2 weeks ago, the discussion was data. Where's the data? Jared's been out there collecting data, and he has some great information and thoughts. So Jared, thanks for being a guest. To you and your firm. I think you have one of your colleagues with us today at least. So you're doing great work and you were a great guest last week. So thank you. This week, we're going to have Leon Alexander join us a little bit later. We're also going to have Rowena Yeager, but we're going to kick off with Stephanie Fox. Typo there, Stephanie Fox Jackson. Stephanie, my apologies for that. And just to set this up, as far as these roundtables go, at Qnity, we have a way to break your business down into 5 distinct functions, breaking down between operations, marketing, education, human capital, and finance. Finance is the primary topic, but we will be getting to the subject of human capital right away here. This is a polling recap. And Stephanie, I'm going to take you off mic in a moment here. I'm going to get your reaction to this in a moment. But this is a polling recap we did last week with salons. 90% of them believe a labor shortage is the biggest challenge facing our industry right now. 2/3, and Stephanie and I are a little bit cynical about this one, truth be told. 2/3 of them believe they do a good job of selling their company's opportunity, meaning that they educate recruits and current members of the team all the wonderful things they offer their team, whether it's compensation, traditional and non-traditional benefits. And then also 2/3 say that service providers are the most difficult role to fill right now. Last week, we also had a poll with you, and we did ranking in terms of how is the employee experience working at your school, self-rating, and there you see the results. So anyway, Stephanie, I'm going to come off here. Let's have you come off from you. Hi, Stephanie, how are you?
Hey, I'm well. Thanks for having me today. Hi, everyone.
Stephanie, I am a big fan of your work, and I'll be unapologetic in promoting what you do. And so that begs the question, what do you do?
Yeah. So, well, thank you. I always appreciate your support and endorsement. I own Talent Match, and it's a team building agency in the beauty industry. So I work specifically on this topic of team building. How do we find staff? How do we keep staff? And I think what sets me apart is that I come from the perspective of data. I really like research. And so I've taken the last few years, and the last 2 years had the biggest surveys I've ever conducted. 2020 was a 20,000 participant survey, and 2021 is wrapping up around the same number. And what I do is I just ask the workforce, what do you want? Why do you pick us? How do you find us? All the things that every salon owner I talk to is burning to know. And I just got kind of tired of, I lovingly say, I just got tired of the opinions. It was like, I don't want any more BS opinion. Like, what are the facts? Let's just ask them. So that's what I do. So I ask the workforce and then I share it.
So you had a salon yourself and you
I
sold
did.
your salon last year. How many years did you have your salon? It was in Ohio. Just a quick sketch on that.
Sure. Yeah. So I had my salon for 8.5 years and had a great opportunity at the end of September of 2020 to pass it on to the next best fit. And we just had a great run. I learned so many lessons. I went into salon ownership thinking I had spent at that point about 12 years in the industry. And it's like, oh, I can do this. And I got my butt kicked a few times, like every salon owner I know, learned a ton of lessons, and we rebounded really, really well from our closure period. And I just had this giant bulk of data sitting in front of me, and I just felt so called to do something with this research. So I knew that as a mom of two little guys that I had to kind of pick a lane. And so I just made the choice to pass my team on to the next best leader and get really focused in this area.
So last week I gave you a mention because I mentioned just very briefly a couple findings from the survey. So, and I do want to be respectful to you today. You have something in 22 minutes, right?
I
You're actually
do.
hosting a Clubhouse event
I
at
am.
30 minutes after the hour.
I am. I'm on with Sam Mercado today at 1:30. So
Oh, Sam Mercado. We were just
yeah,
on with him a little earlier. So, okay, good. So we'll do is we'll make sure that we allow you to exit stage left at no later than 20 after. Is that okay?
that works.
Great. And I'll have Michelle put something, or you can put at the very end, how to access the research and how to get a hold of you. Okay. But
Great.
tell me about the research. So it was fascinating. And again, we'll keep in mind our audience here. Our audience are school owners and managers, or those that have a vested interest in making sure that we're able to bring the next generation of professionals. So they have their own labor issues. For example, finding instructors. And so how does your research, or what are your lessons that might be applicable to this group?
Well, I think the good news and what makes it very applicable is that I research with beauty professionals, and schools hire beauty professionals. So whether we're trying to hire them for a salon role, or we're trying to hire them as an instructor, or even in some other role in a school, right? They might be in a placement role or a marketing role. Having that beauty professional element means that I've talked to the audience and I've kind of got a sense of what it is that they say they want. And when I think about the school space, I think about it a lot like the salon space. And I would go back to the remark you made about what we were being very cynical about, which is telling the story of your brand. And schools in the beauty space, privately owned in many cases, right? And so you have this unique magic about your brand, and we need to be called to do the work to tell the story better. It's true in the salon space. It's very true in the school space. What is awesome about a brand, what is awesome about a school, needs to be broadcasted in the place we know that beauty professionals look. And so according to the data, the places that they're looking in terms of roles like this would be Instagram and Indeed. So you have to ask yourself as a school, how great is your presence on those two platforms? And is it generic, like hiring for an instructor that's inspired by education, wants to work full time? Or is it something like, we do loyalty, laughter, and team building. We love education. We want to help you grow, and we inspire others to grow. Is this you? Join our team. Like the message needs to sound different than kind of just here's the job qualifications.
Yeah, and this is a financial roundtable, and the thing about five functions is all functions are connected together. If you don't have the human capital, then it's a huge strain on your financial model. So what are some of the things that you think are common, maybe mistakes that an employer might make? For example, a
Related.
school with
Yeah.
recruitment. Yep.
Yeah. Goodness. I think the first mistake I would call out in a school setting, this also happens in the salons, but definitely in a school setting where we think of that instructor role as a very professional role, right? A student or a beauty professional is going to think of that as like, I kind of have a big girl or big boy job if I'm an instructor. So one of the primary places they're going to be looking is Indeed. And one of the big gaps I see in Indeed is that when you build your first job, it automatically attaches you to a profile, right? It gives your salon a page or your school a page, your brand has a page, but we don't go in and edit those pages. So we don't go in and put a cover photo, of your school. We don't go in and put in the information about the why join us. We don't pay attention to the reviews people have given. If you've been on Glassdoor, which Glassdoor and Indeed now are aligned, you actually can see reviews that a previous employee leaves about your brand. You can also see reviews about the interview process of your brand. And so I would say you need to get into Indeed and you need to really claim that page, not just claim it because you posted a job one time, but tell your brand story on it so that when people are on that platform looking for roles inside of your school, they see more about your brand than just the specific job posted.
Great tangible tips. So what are some maybe obvious misses that a school might make or an employer might make as it relates to attracting the right people?
Well, I was thinking about this when we were kind of texting earlier. So I kind of made a list of things that stand out to me. And the first thing that stands out to me, and I'm sure there are some schools doing this, but in the large amount of rental suites that we have in our industry and how many stylists are out there kind of trying to do it on their own, think about the allure of providing learning opportunities to a student, like how that makes you feel, and how when we give, we get kind of thinking, and how many of those stylists in the suite model are missing something. They're missing that relationship, they're missing that connection, and they can't quite put their finger on it. Maybe they didn't have a great reality in the salon. They don't know how to get what they thought that they, or what they're now missing. Like, go after the suite market and recruit them to be your instructors. Like, many of them are talented hairdressers. Like, I tell salons this: go on to your Google and do a 5-mile radius search for the suites in your area. And then get on every single one of the pages of each of the artists. And you can almost always find their Instagram handle, an email address, sometimes a phone number. So collect them and recruit them, right? Send them all of the great things that come with working for your brand. And maybe you get somebody that's willing to come on as a part-time instructor. Maybe you get somebody that's willing to just jump ship right away and say, sure, I'm in, because the benefits and the allure of working in your brand are so great. But hit that market hard. They want to be in that team environment, and they need you and you need them.
You're on a roll here. I'm interested in some comments about, these are some very great tangible tips, and I can already tell that my mind is just spinning here. Keep going.
Yeah, so I would say that's a big one, is hit those independents. The other thing I would think about is offering education into the salon network in general about how to be an educator, right? There are a lot of salons that need education in their school or in their salons and don't know how to develop an educator. And you know how to develop educators. So think about how you can have relationships with the school or the salons in your market, school to salon, and actually offer kind of a train the trainer, how to be a trainer, and build relationships with those stylists who might be interested in being behind the chair part-time and being an educator part-time. And some of them may never come work in your school, and you might just have done a great service to teach them how to teach better in the industry. But some of them might find that they love that work, and it provides a real benefit to the salon owner to have a trained trainer in their business. So that would be another suggestion. And then I would say, obviously, you guys do a great job. The schools do a great job of getting those students straight out of school and really helping to cultivate that. But don't forget, get on Instagram. I gave the Indeed tip, but get on Instagram and start following the students that are graduates of yours and graduates of the other schools in your area. Message them, comment on their work, talk about how talented they are. And then make sure that when you do that and they come click on your profile, that they see a representation of what it would be like to be an educator in your school, not just, your profile showing all the student work, but what is it like to be an employee of your school, so that now they've had this interaction with you, they pop on your Instagram and they feel this allure to like, wow, it would be really cool to do that. Instagram serves so many functions, and I think it can help you in so many ways. I know that it can, because the data says it does.
What else came out of the data? The one that blew me away, and this is more about students graduating, this one just really stuck with me, is that a higher percentage, so this is really about leaving the school, but this also reflects a pool of talent working in the school too. The thing that blew me away is that more people actually want to talk about their schedule than their pay.
Yes. Yeah. So it's something like, and I might get these stats wrong. I don't know if you have them in front of you. It's like 53% of them want to talk about compensation at the first interview. And no, it's 48% compensation, 53% want to talk about schedule. So schedule trumped pay. And we see that too. And the reason that they leave salons, the number one reason they leave is flexibility. So they want to talk about it first at the interview before they pick the job. What's my flexibility or schedule going to be? And then it's the first reason that they would leave is if they can't meet that. So I think as that applies to hiring instructors, one of the really awesome things, and I was chatting with some school owners about this last week, schools had to get on board with new schedules way before salons did. Because what you guys found is you had students who said, I don't want to just come Tuesday through Saturday. I need to be able to go part-time so that I can have a job. I need morning or just evening. And schools widely across the nation, years ago, created multiple programs and avenues for time and schedule flexibility. Salons are just getting on board with the idea of schedule flexibility, if we're being honest. So schools have a leg up in that, right? Like a major leg up. And so think about how that creates a retention tool for you as well to be able to offer multiple schedules to your instructors.
Great tips here. I'd love to see some more in the chat here. What other nuggets might you have? I'm about 3 minutes and counting before I have to release you, even though I feel like I could talk to you all day about this stuff. And I'm sure the school owners and participants have a lot of thoughts here. What else?
Well, I would say if I was going to give everybody an assignment, because I like action, is to sit down with your current workforce and get them to put actual words to what's so magical about working for you. Like describe it so that it has an actual like vibe around it so that you can put that magic out into the world. Because if you can't name it, you can't build content around it to market it. So you need to get together with your team. You need to build out all the words that describe how awesome you are, and not just the generic, like, we're educators, but like, what about you being an educator, was so amazing. And then get to work building content so that the whole world that lands on your Instagram or your website or in any of your social or digital spaces would know that about you.
It's damn good stuff. Anything else?
Oh my gosh, I could go on forever. Is there any questions before I have to pop off here?
Yeah, I'm wondering if there's any questions. I think most are just kind of taking this in and they're probably writing away here. Sure. I don't see any questions, at least yet here.
I don't know if Leon or Rowena have anything to add. Hello, you two.
Well, I'll take them off mic in just a second here.
Sure.
And we do have a comment from Melissa Jenkins. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Stephanie. Great insight. So let's do this. I want to be respectful of you. Will you come back to the school roundtable if I invite you back?
I would love to. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So let's, and Michelle just posted how to connect with you in the chat. And that's where they can get the research, right?
It is. Yep. So if you go to the top right corner of my website, there's a little gold box that says how to find stylists, and you're looking for them too, just for a different role. So if you download that PDF, it gives you all that insight. And the new survey actually closes on the 31st, the 2021 survey. So if you have a chance, take it. You can find that on the website as well. Pass it on to your students. Obviously, the more participants we have, the better. And then I'll be updating that little how to find stylist box here really soon with the 2021 findings.
Let's give Stephanie a virtual round of applause. Stephanie, you now have earned your second $1 million light bulb for some great.
Thank you.
Bravo, virtual applause. Let us know, guys, in the chat what your light bulb moments were with Stephanie. Stephanie, we will see you very soon. Looks like you're live in another forum in 10 minutes. So thanks again for joining us, okay? And I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye, everyone.
All right, excellent. Leon and Rowena, how are you two today? We have taken a journey yet earlier today. Might as well both come off mute.
Hello again. It's like deja vu all over again.
Yes, I felt that your contribution earlier this morning on the Salon Roundtable was so relevant that so much of it is needed to, school owners need to hear some of this. So anyway, let me just give a quick background on each of you. Rowena, you are located in Ohio. You own a salon. You're very active in the beauty industry. Just maybe round out your a little bit about you and a minute or two here.
Perfect. Well, I've been a hairdresser for 34 years. I've had my salon for 20. We are a 13-year salon today, top 200 as well. I do want to do a shout out to Nicole Cumberlander, who's on our call as well, because, her school is actually 1.9 miles from my salon. And I was actually there yesterday speaking to the students and had the opportunity to share. So, talking with students and being involved with the schools is a very near and dear to my heart topic.
Great.
So thank you for having me. And
yes,
hello, Leon, again.
And so part of what I invited you on, you and Leon this book speak about was innovation. Actually, we're going to talk a little bit about innovation, including desk, smart mirrors, Amazon salon model, and a little bit on Clubhouse. So Leon, let's get you up front and center. Hey, Leon, how are you?
I'm jolly good, sir.
Jolly good. Leon, I've known you for many years. It's great to have a chance to collaborate like this. And you're always thinking about the future, innovation, and a school has a huge need to innovate today, whether it's in the clinic or whether it's part of their instructional offerings. So some of the things that I thought would be relevant is some of the innovation you're seeing. So a little bit about you. You are in the space business, technology business. There's no way that I can say it like you. So why don't you talk about you and Arisco and what you do, okay?
Just very, very briefly, because I think the content's more important than what I do. I'm a past owner of 320 salons and 4 schools. I also was a distributor in Europe of wet products, and now I design salons around the emotional needs of the consumer, accommodating the functionality of service. I was encouraged by what Stephanie said. I think she made some very valid points. When it comes to schools, one of the same problem you raised at the beginning, Tom, is the staff shortage over the next 2 years. These are the things that I found out that are going to be vitally important for any business, particularly the school business, to capture the best available. And Stephanie mentioned some of them, but personal education, personal development, not just on technique, a place that has a cool design, flexibility, the culture, personal career growth. And to work someone that has a strategic competitive advantage. So any business, be it salon, school, restaurant, that offers that will attract the best people to want to work for you and attract the best students who want to come because it's a cool place to go. So to me, it's about creating that vision. And you mentioned technology. Technology has to be part of that. We have to bridge the gap between going from a school to a salon and the big shop. Schools should be really virtually based on what they're going to experience in a salon. And I don't think we should just be educating people on technology. We should be educating people how to communicate and connect with people.
Yeah, let's talk about some innovation, and innovation that is going to affect all of us, all right, and changes.
Right.
And the first place I want to go to, and each of you could share briefly on this, is Amazon salons. And I know both of you have learned a lot more about it than me, and I just learned a ton a couple hours ago. So Leon, I'll start with you. So what is this about Amazon? Give us sort of the quick down and dirty, then we can unpack it a little bit more.
Very, very quick. Amazon have no interest in owning salons. So that's the good news. They want the
Time out 1 second.
Yeah.
How do you know this stuff, by the way? Where do you get inside scoop?
Brian Lewis is the architect who was in the concept of that, and I worked with him on several projects. I've
in the UK. It's the one
UK.
Amazon salon. The one, can I call it an Amazon salon? Is in the UK?
Yeah, this one is owned by Amazon.
Okay.
Because it's a beta test for going forward.
So you've got a little bit more of the inside track than the average Tom of the world. So tell us more.
So what they want to do is they want your database. They want to sell web products. They're in the business of selling products. So this is a beta test partnered with a salon owner to test out the technology that they've introduced. Their intention is to, in 2022, to partner with salons. So it is Rowena's salon powered by Amazon. So still Rowena will be, it's her business, her salon, but yet the technology will enhance the experience of the consumer, benefit the service provider, and benefit the business. So their intention is to sell the technology to salons and sell the products through Amazon.
I guess
And that's exactly what their intentions are.
so. I guess one would call that a Trojan horse, right?
You could look at it that way.
Got it.
Yes, they don't.
Rowena, so you're dialed in on this too.
Yes.
You're studying this model. Oh, I like your framing now. I mean, that's awesome. I feel like I should take
I
a
had to
picture of
move
you.
because it started raining outside. So I don't have covering over my back porch, and I was sitting underneath my umbrella, and all of a sudden it literally started pouring. So I ran through my house to my front porch because my cleaning lady's cleaning inside, and she likes listening to music, and I don't want to disrupt her. So because she's having fun while she works.
I need to do some episodes like this outside myself. I did dress a little summary today in your honor. So tell us a little bit more about, from what you know about the Amazon model and maybe what it means for us going forward.
Yes. And, I think the biggest thing is that I want to point out first is that Rowena does not have an Amazon salon. So, which I love the innovation. I love the technology. I'm a nerd at heart, if you know me. And the reality is, like I've learned from paying attention to both Leanne and I connecting with Alana in the Amazon salon in London, is that we need to be aware. And the awareness is very important of what is going on. Whether we like it or don't like it, the reality is it exists. So I agree that, they're using it as a test model. It's a test model to see how our clients shop, how they purchase things, how they talk about it with their service provider. They're studying us. So the reality is, if somebody's studying you, why not study them? Because that's my thought, is that that's what we need to do, is be very aware of what's going on with the technology. Because a lot of the technology pieces that they've come up with, which Leon can speak better to, are very relevant and very needed. And if we look at how we run our businesses from a consumer's point of view of what their wants and their needs are, is what we should do. It shouldn't be about what Rowena wants. And sure, my first client is my employee. So how am I using innovation with my employee as well? And how they're coming out of school, since we're talking schools, I think really adapts to that too.
So the Leon, back to you. So some of the technology, so we'll bounce back and forth between technology and the Amazon model. One of the things that we spent time talking about was a smart mirror. All right. So absolutely is going to affect schools in terms of what's going to be available once they're out in the workforce. So it's very real. It's coming. Tell us about the smart mirrors.
Well,
and by the way, all right, chat moment here. Please put in the chat, guys. Have you heard about smart mirrors? All right. So put in the chat if you have. Go ahead, Leon.
Smart mirrors are an innovation that's already out, but not in our industry. They have multiple functions and benefits to the business. Amazon has part of a smart mirror because what they're doing is, instead of having color chosen from a swatch, it superimposes your image on your avatar to a mirror in front of you, and the consumer can go through 2,000 different colors and see what it looks like on them. So that's part of a smart mirror. The other part of a smart mirror is built into the styling station, where the service provider will bring up all of the products they used on them and show a video of it being applied, show the benefits by voice activation. And then the consumer, because their profile's launched, can order it while they're in the chair, instead of having to get up and lose the opportunity and go to the front desk and have it shipped to them. The other thing is there's 360-degree view. So you don't need a back mirror. You can see what the hair looks like all the way around. There are many, many benefits to a smart mirror built in, and it doubles up as a styling station. But to me, that's the future. because what that does, it creates less friction at the front by taking things away. It creates less friction because it's voice activated. You don't have to touch. And it's part of what the future is: entertainment and personal experiences. If we capture those two things, entertainment for the Gen X, Y, Zs, and personal experiences, you get that right, you have a major growth in the future of our industry.
Yeah, I think it's Kevin's the only one that responded that he's heard of this before. Of course you have, Kevin. Kevin, you're on the cutting edge of things. I knew a little bit about it, but not very much. And it really has my mind going here. Let's move over to the whole concept of what's known as the front desk and that function. Rowena, over to you for that one a moment. We had a lively discussion about that a little bit earlier. And, you know, if you look at a school, like any other business, what they're really looking to do is, well, they're looking to do a lot of things, enhance the student experience, the guest experience, the employee experience. They're also trying to make money. And, you know, they also need to be on the cutting edge of things that will not sacrifice customer and student experience, but can be more efficient. So use of technology and systems. So what are we seeing out there in terms of trends in the salons that schools might want to be aware of as it relates to the front desk?
Perfect segue into what I would love to share. So as we think about, you know, repurposing that space at the front and what we're going to be doing with it to create more revenue into the business, the piece that it gets confused is that it's peopleless. And the reality is that it's not peopleless. That there is still a person that will be available, that will be that contact, that will be able to help. It's just their position shifts, their position changes. So what we're working on right now is creating a position that's called the hair traffic controller. And I actually just hired one of Nicole's employees who's also going to be doing part of her internship with us as well. So she's going to have two dual roles. In Ohio, you can do an internship, so you can come in and do hours. So we have to keep a very good record between their hours and their work time so that they're getting their hours. And so she's going to be working in the salon. Now her work job will be really learning the pieces at the front desk. At this point, we do have a front desk. And what does that mean? You know, greeting the guest, walking the guest around, but they're really that hair traffic controller that is the glue, the connection between the stylist, between the guest. Our phones don't ring as much. And the reasons the phones don't ring as much is because clients are booking their appointments online. And earlier we had talked about, you know, when clients are booking their appointments, they're doing it at midnight. They're doing it at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know what? They wake up at night and they're like, oh, you know what? I think I need my hair done. So they go and they schedule an appointment and they can do it 24 hours a day. So I think that the things that are shifting and changing are really important to pay attention to, and how we can connect with our schools and help these students come in. My belief is that if we start when they start school, and we hire these students when they start school, work with their school schedules, train them from every single business aspect of what we do, I think we're setting them up for success. We're setting ourselves up for success and the school, because at the end of the day, these future professionals are future salon owners. And we can't forget that. They are not my competition when they come in and they say, I want to own a salon someday. That's the person I want, because I want to train them how to. Because if I miss that piece on how to train that person, I believe that as a leader in my industry, I've missed a valuable point, because they are going to open regardless. Do I want them open and help them open, or do I want them to open it blind and possibly fail? I'd much rather see somebody that I've trained from the beginning to be successful.
So Michelle, why don't you bring up a poll? We have a poll here on technology as it relates to desk and Amazon. So let's get a little interaction from the group. I haven't checked the chat very much here, but I will in a moment. I love this conversation. You guys are very generous to join me twice today. Thank you. And Leon, back to you, my friend. So the desk, okay, school, and your points of view or just different thoughts.
Right.
as it relates to, making it, thinking of the school here?
Well, I mean, yes, with school, it's exactly the same. And Rowena brings up a very valid point that when you book a restaurant, you book it now with OpenTable. You don't call the restaurant. When you book a flight, you book it with maybe Expedia. And when you book a hotel, it's hotels.com. We don't actually call the hotel. It's exactly the same. Artificial intelligence or texting, one of the two, has the ability to book all the appointments, which takes the friction away from the desk. It takes the lining up away from whether it's a school or a salon to actually give that personal experience and have it when they want. The desk idea has been around a long time. In Europe, they've been doing it for a period of time. The technology has been around. But the whole idea is Rowena has a really great name, hair controller. I call it a concierge, but I like Rowena's name as well. Whatever you call it, it's not as important as what they do. What they do is they are the link to give a personal experience in greeting people and escorting them through and making sure they're okay. A front desk person, when you come in, sometimes the phones are going and they're not treated straight away. Or you are dealing with someone, you call them up and then, could you hold the line a minute, please? That's not excellent service, whether it's a restaurant, a school, or a salon. And what we're in the pursuit of is giving excellent personal services, and the deskless idea, by replacing it with someone who's focused on you as a consumer, has to be the future.
Yeah, let's look at the poll here, and I'm going to switch the subject with you guys. Great information, both of you. Thank you. Has upgraded technology lessened the need for desk hours? And it's split right down the middle. Do you think a powered by Amazon model could apply to schools? 2/3 of you said not sure. 22% of you said absolutely could. All right, let's move on to another topic here. And Rowena, I'm on Clubhouse, and I'm nowhere near as active as you and Leon. And first of all, I'm curious, Michelle, bring up another poll here. Let's get a poll here for people that are on this call today in terms of their involvement with Clubhouse. So let's get that going here. And so, Rowena, I get these notifications that pop up, and a lot of them are from you and Leon. And so you guys are out there in Clubhouse. So we're finding that 1/3 of people are not on Clubhouse, and actually it's more like 44%. So bumper sticker short, guys. Let's keep it really quick. What is Clubhouse, Rowena?
I would say Clubhouse, the best way to describe Clubhouse is it is like a podcast on crack that you get to participate in. So I call it Clubhouse crack. Yeah, exactly. So that's what it looks like. That's called the hallway. So when you scroll up and down the hallway, you see different rooms that you can go into. They have various topics. You don't have to stay within your industry. You can go outside of your industry. The wealth of knowledge that's out there is phenomenal. I do feel like at times that, I tend to live in the bubble of my own world of what's going on. And I do want to believe that I tread outside of that. I don't think I realized how much more was out there until I walked into Clubhouse and started connecting with domainers, started connecting with people that do cryptocurrency, talking to people that know what an NFT is. It's still trying to wrap my head around that one. But it's like there's so much knowledge out there of what's going on that if we don't be aware, if we aren't aware and we don't pay attention, we just don't know. So Clubhouse to me is that place that I can go to. It's like listening to the radio. And so when you do see me on there, it doesn't mean that I am sitting there intently paying attention. I may be doing my makeup. I may be taking my dog out. I may be walking around my yard. When you're on Zoom and you do it, you just, shut out your video while you walk around, or you turn it off. But the reality is that you can do all kinds of things while you're on Clubhouse. And there's a lot of back talk that goes on with it too. So if I have to blow dry my hair in the morning, I message Jen and I said, by the way, you take the mic and run the room for a little bit. I'm going to blow dry my hair. And then I come back. So, it just works with your day. It's like picking up the phone, having a conversation with somebody. It's different type of social media.
Yeah, it is very different, and it's one of those that emerged as being really hot and probably here to stay.
Mhm.
Leon, over to you. We'll talk about Clubhouse just for a little bit more here.
Yeah.
And I am curious from anybody participating today, have you seen any forums for school owners? And so that's going to be a question for the group. Have you seen any Clubhouse forums for school owners? Leon, a Clubhouse, I mean,
Yeah.
why would a school owner want to have school owner that's already wearing all these different hats want to, do this?
Well,
Because
there's two reasons. One, you can collaborate with your peers. And, we talked at the last one about this type of forum is invaluable to the industry, to elevate the thinking of the industry. In Clubhouse, you also have that, but I can go 2/3 of what I look at is outside of our industry. Technology companies, PR companies, marketing companies, all the kind of ideas. As Rowena said, I can come in from a 4-mile run and just not shower and just go on Clubhouse. It took me 45 minutes to do my hair today because I knew I was coming on your show. So,
me too.
yeah. So, there are advantages to both. I think you need both.
Yeah.
I love this forum and I also love Clubhouse, but the whole essence is that we're educating ourselves and we're sharing what we know and hopefully raising the bar as a common denominator of ideas that we're sharing between each other. And what Rowena has an idea, I have an idea, we swap it, and it just elevate the thinking very quickly with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I was in, I happened to just open up Clubhouse, and next thing I know, I'm dragged into a room, and I've got an hour and a half on a Sunday with Robert Cromings talking about, I don't even know what we talked about. I think it was money stories,
Yeah.
It's a really cool forum. And I do think for those of you that are participating today, there's a question about how to get involved. You do need an invite. I think that was Jill. Great question, Jill, by the way. I believe Jill, yes. And definitely check it out. I think it's a forum that's an extension to some of the things that we stand for and believe in. That's collaboration, peer sharing. And I think you guys are doing a great job of, I guess I'd call you early adopters. I mean, Rowena, I think you've done 100 of these things, so, and Leon, you and I have been on a couple together. So guys, I'm looking at the clock here and you've double dipped today. Rowena, I know you have something else going on. Leon, I've already got you on 2 of my sessions today. I'm very thankful for both of you. You guys do a great job. I think the school industry could absolutely benefit from both of your wisdom. And I'm pleased to again award you the $1 million light bulb for some light bulb.
2 in 1 day.
Yep, you have 2 in 1 day. That might be a new one, is to have 2 awards in the same day. So nice job, you guys. Let's all give them a virtual round of applause. Then I've got some other things to share with the group. You guys are welcome to hang out. Rowena, I know if you need to, I think you had something you needed to attend to. So, but
I do. Thank you so much for having me on. I do want to say somebody did ask about Clubhouse invites. Because it's a club, you do have to have an invite. I have over 1,000 I can share. So if you hit me up, I sent my text out there, send it to me. You do need to have either an iPhone or a Droid at this point. It's not open to other platforms yet.
And Leon, what's the name of your company? It's Euriska, right?
Euriska Design, yes.
All right. And you work with schools from a design standpoint?
Yeah, we've signed numerous schools of different brands or individual schools, but we design it really with the future in mind.
You also got a PhD at the end of your name. So do I have to call you Dr. Leon?
No, just your eminence would do. No, yeah, I have a PhD in behavioral psychology.
All right, great. Well, you guys have great insights. Once again, thanks to both of you. Amazing designer on the cutting edge, according to Ann Wheeler, somebody that you and I both love. Ann, thanks for joining us today. So great job, you guys. I'm going to go over to some other topics. I've got a digest of information. Whoops, let me make sure I'm sharing my screen here. All right, am I sharing my screen? Not yet, I will. I love this conversation, guys. All right, what else do I have for you guys? Okay, all right. I want to spend a little bit of time talking about the finance function, okay? And I do have an article for you here And every week when we do these roundtables, we do some research and, try to stay in touch with what's relevant here. And this is a good article. It's about the CFO's role in capability building. So let's do a quick survey here about who's your CFO, all right? And as a school owner, and most of you being a small business owner, my guess is that you are probably wearing the hat of a CFO. Now, I'm sure you have in-house CFO support. Certainly you're going to need it in the different elements of your business, but I think it's important to have a conversation about the role of CFO, which another way of looking at it is who is fully accountable for the finance function of your business. We can use a fancy word like a CFO, isn't actually a fancy word, but you don't necessarily need to be like trained as a CFO if you're in the function of a CFO. And that's the thing that I'm most interested in, is if you're in the function of a CFO, then there's certain things that I want to share with you. Some of it's coming out of this article. First of all, is that most in a finance function, whether it's a CFO or an owner wearing the hat of a CFO, there is a tendency for their experience to be underdeveloped and underutilized. Education doesn't seem to be as regular, and many CFOs and financial professionals are working off of dated models and dated information. And part of it is because the business and the individual is not investing in their own growth and learning new skills and trends. The other thing about a CFO is they're also underutilized. When we talk about the 5 functions, when you look at marketing, when you look at operations, human capital, finance, they're all related with each other. And in many cases, the finance professional doesn't have a seat at the table and finds out too late. And I love that in terms of upgrading your finance function, about half of you are saying you have, and the others said that you haven't. We're noticing a lot of businesses that we work with today are very, very proactively looking at the finance function of their business. And so this is really about building capabilities. Other things that really come from this article that really speak to me and that I wanted to share with you is the use of language and financial literacy. And financial literacy, to me, is very near and dear as it relates to the students, and making sure that everybody in this industry has a baseline of financial literacy. Let's speak to those that are in the highest role within a company. And one of the things that comes out in this article, and it really spoke to me, is that employees often use the same terms to mean different things. In other words, you might have someone speaking French and someone else speaking in Spanish as it relates to finance related terms. For example, profit can be referred to as profit dollars per unit, or profit dollars per unit, percentage, or even gross margin. Costs could mean overhead, marketing investments, capital. There's a lot of confusion that just comes from terminology. Words matter. And one of the things that I think is so important is that we as a company use the same terminology, so we're literally on the same page. Using the same language is really, really important. The other thing about the CFO role is that it's about amplifying their voices. In many cases, the CFO has a very narrow function, and they're not really at the table when it comes to key decision makings. And in many cases, the finance skills are there, but not necessarily the communication skills if you have a trained financial professional that's inside your company. So anyway, it's a great article. It has to do with common language, amplifying the voice, growing importance, as well as the making sure that the capability continues to grow. All right, I've got a few other things that just inspired me to share with you this week. We will have some CFOs on future calls here. I'm looking for you to nominate some guests that could be CFOs, so send me an email. We're always looking for guest contributors to the Brain Trust. So last week, just to reiterate, these were just some polls we did as related to profitability. And it was, this is where you weighed in terms of profitability for schools. polling from last week. Other things that inspired in terms of our weekly digest. I love this one. Confused about what to do next? Follow your customers. This is an article out of Inc. They've got some great information out here as it relates to trends. And it's a very simple concept, but also something to hit ourselves over the head with. And that is that follow your customer, understand what they need and want, and adjust accordingly. And that your customers are students and their families and those that are involved in enrolling in your programs. So there's that. Here's another one that I thought was really great to share. And this has to do with non-traditional benefits and how it retains top talent. And they listed, based upon research, I thought this was interesting, the type of non-traditional benefits that have the most significant impact on employee satisfaction, as well as the ability to recruit and retrain. This is by Paycheck. It was a survey. Flexible scheduling, we hear about that all the time. Free meals, everybody loves a free meal. But then I thought this was amazing, financial counseling and advice and financial related education for members of your team is a great non-traditional benefit. So certainly the opportunity to raise the collective level of financial literacy in the professional beauty industry makes moi tick. And a lot of the people we partner with share that desire to make sure that the money skills in the workforce, starting with students, become at a different level. I've been on so many different things that I'm involved with Beauty Changes Lives, other organizations really are focusing on how we can create the right talent in this industry. And I think it's really important that we're able to provide the money skills that are needed by the next generation of the workforce. All right, I moved some of my stuff a little bit later because I wanted to get to these guys. Polling recap, just a couple comments about transition planning. 41% of you have considered a transition. And HBO series, this thing cracks me up here, this series, but just a couple things as it relates to succession planning. So this is actually an HBO show, and it centers around the dysfunction of a large family-run company without a clear succession plan. It's a satire, it's over the top, but the truth is succession is a critical issue for closely held businesses. The odds of a family business transition being successful are actually quite low. Only 30% of businesses survive a transition to the second generation, only 12% to the third, and 3% to the fourth generation. So, I'm a big advocate for planning and preparing for the future and developing some type of transition plan, being proactive. So, all right. So let's see what else we have. Okay, we are off next week, guys. We are going to take a week off. It's Memorial Day. And what we'll do going forward is we'll have 3 sessions per month with this roundtable. We're looking for Brain Trust members. We're looking for you to recruit other people. We're just warming up on this school roundtable. And definitely want to see what some of your comments are. So what do we got today here? We've got Jill. Thank you, Jill, and Kevin. And let's see who else is on this call today here before we wrap things up. So we have Alcott. Good morning, Alcott. Morning. It's afternoon. It feels like morning. Ali, Amber, Andre, Ann, Beatriz, Caitlin, Sissy, Dave, Diane, Jamie, Jared. Hello, Jared. Thanks again. Jennifer, Jill, Joe, Justin. Hi, Justin. How are you? Good to see you on here. Hello, Kevin. Thank you. Lori, Lisa, Melissa, Orlando. Hey, Orlando. How you doing today? Roxanne, New Mexico. Hi. Hello, Sabina, Susan, and Victoria, a person that I love dearly. So, all right, guys, let us wrap this up. Any final comments? Would love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed it today. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. I've got my summer attire on here because we're going to be doing summery type stuff here in Minnesota. Wherever you are, thanks for joining. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye now.